So you said something before. I forgot that you mentioned something. I was going to talk on that.
Okay, so I mentioned that, when we're in the relationship, it's really good. When it ends,
Oh
it
yeah, yeah.
seems
Okay,
really bad, and we don't want anything
so
to do with that person. And,
yeah,
and
yeah,
all of
okay.
our positive emotions we've had sometimes for years and years, they all become really negative.
Okay, many times, well, not many times, sometimes we are in a relationship because it's convenient, and only because it's convenient, because it's more comfortable, because we are scared of getting out, of being alone. So sometimes we stay in a relationship which is maybe unhealthy and is not really working out just because it's more convenient for both parties. That's a big mistake. I mean, you have to understand that, it's convenience is not really the priority for a relationship. The priority is friendship. And that's the other thing I wanted to mention is that, for example, with me, I mean, all my ex-girlfriends are my friends. We still talk to today. I don't think I have an ex-girlfriend who I don't talk with and we are not friends. But that's also because the base of the relationship was friendship. It wasn't anything else. It was friendship. So even when the relationship finishes, the friendship stays there. Because otherwise, maybe you have a relationship 2, 3, 4 years, and then it ends, and then you don't have that friendship anymore. Then what's the use? It's such a waste of time. There's 3, 4 years meant nothing. Of course, many times the partner, maybe you try to have a good attitude, but the person they don't really care. They have zero interest in really having a good attitude. So in that case, I can understand that it's very hard. It's very hard because, of course, it's not so much resentment; it's also trauma. Like, for example, for me, I'm really, really, really traumatized by the relationship that I have of the mother of my son. Is I like the trauma is like almost unbearable. It's very, very dark. And of course, the resentment comes up, but immediately I try to transform it. Also because of my son, because my son is there. If my son wasn't there, I mean, we wouldn't probably even talk to each other since 2 months. Like we met, we were together for 2 months, and probably that would have been it. But because we got pregnant, then we had to go through all that. I mean, we are completely dysfunctional as a couple. We used to be very toxic also, and of course, like from my side, I try to do my best. Of course, I make mistakes also, but when the other person has that intention of really trying to harm you, it becomes difficult not to have resentment or not to be traumatized. But for me, the best way to transform that is through the power of love. By really having compassion for that person, really trying to understand that person, as yourself. Try to put yourself in the position of that person. Of course, you can try to have a good relationship. You can try to have a friendship. If the person doesn't have interest, then it's a waste of time. But you can try at least. But the important thing is that to let go of all of that, because as long as you have the resentment and you have that trauma and that pain, you are the one who has to channel it. You are the one who has to carry it. And in time, it will become a really bad weight. I'm speaking from experience.
Mm-hmm.
It can be really, really, really difficult, especially if there's a kid involved, because sometimes the mother uses the kid against you, like, anyways, I'm not going to get into that, but my parents used to do that a lot. I mean, I think many parents do it, when they use the kid to get at the other person, right? For me, that affects me a lot. That's just is so overwhelming because I just cannot understand. I cannot understand why you use a kid, you know, like it's, so basically I suffer because I cannot understand. It's like it's all upside down. It's a little bit like when you see war, you know, it's legal and people giving medals for killing people, or when you see a little bit what's happening in the world and it's like you just don't understand, you know, it's like everything is upside down and becomes almost unbearable because there's nothing to comprehend. So in the end, the only thing that works for me is to tell myself there is nothing to understand. Even if you try to understand all your life, some things there's nothing to understand. It's just the way people are. Some people just are like that, and some people will never change in that aspect. So you just have to accept. You just have to understand that there's nothing to understand, and then you just have to try to give the best of you, and maybe slowly the other person will transform or not, but at least you're not channeling all that shit, you know. At least you've transformed it from your side, and you're able to offer a kind of a possibility or an example for the other person to see and to learn from.
Well, Otso, I guess some of the things that you raised, these actually come up in some of our final two questions that we have. One of them is, okay, you mentioned how you're able to stay friends with many of your exes, and that's often not the case for many of us. And I think part of it is because the breakup is so nasty and so vicious. And one of our members asks, how can I end a romantic relationship?
Yeah, but that it doesn't have to be like that.
Okay.
It doesn't have to. The breakups don't have to be nasty and vicious. If the relationship is based on respect and friendship. Sorry.
Oh, you're just saying about giving us advice on breaking up and how it doesn't have to be nasty and vicious.
No, I thought you said something. No, so really, I mean, a relationship, I mean, even if a relationship ends, friendship is still there. That's what many people don't understand. You know, they just go from one extreme to another extreme, from being obsessed and having this perfect idealization of someone to hating the person and blaming all the problems to that person. You know, blaming all the problems to that person. You know, so that's one extreme to the other extreme. And that happens a lot. And that's because we are not aware of our mind and our process, our thoughts. We just project. We want to have a guilty, somebody guilty. So then everything's on them. We are perfect. We didn't make any mistake, you know, we're superior or whatever. But that's a mistake because nobody is superior to anybody. Nobody knows more than another person. Everybody knows different. And everybody is different. That's it. So you can't really compare. So I think also that's one of the reasons why relationships become so toxic is because we get into this pattern. And many times we tend to repeat the same pattern with the next partner and the next partner and the next partner. Mm-hmm. Because we don't want to do that work. We're not willing to do that work because we're not willing to recognize that maybe the problem is within us. Right?
Yeah.
It's much easier to blame. So, but I mean, I was with Sarah, with this Italian girl. She's wonderful. I mean, we're very good friends. I mean, we're best friends, really. And we were together. We lived together for a year and a half. Now she's in Italy, so we're like giving each other space. But I mean, we talk to each other all the time, and I'm sure when we see each other, we're gonna, you know, be very good friends. You know, I mean, it's not gonna be, you know, there's not gonna be any kind of problem. Maybe I'm projecting, but I mean, yeah, I mean, we have a good relationship because we have a good friendship. You know, so that friendship is always there. Because a relationship can come and can go.
Mhm.
You know, that's not really important. But we get so attached to this concept of the relationship. My boyfriend, my girlfriend, you know, mine, with me. You know, like that is, I think, big mistake. So if we can let go of that, then the friendship is there. And then we can really enjoy, we can really be happy. We can really give the best and receive the best.